Malawi's majestic, cloud-high plateaus and lowland marshes. Malawi is a group of children laughing and singing. Malawi is vibrant cities, quaint villages, and expansive nature preserves. The breathtaking natural beauty of this African nation is evident everywhere you look. Home to 18 million people and no larger than the state of Pennsylvania, Malawi is all of this and more. The first-time visitor is extremely impressed by the intense hospitality and warm greetings as the country lives out its theme of being the warm heart of Africa. And yet, the people face daily struggles. Hospitals and clinics lack the necessary supplies and equipment. In the schools, there's a severe shortage of books and other educational materials. And worst of all, from time to time, weather and agricultural circumstances thrust Malawi into a heartbreaking spiral of famine. The Malawi Project is a 501c3 not-for-profit assistance-based organization located in the United States. It pursues the goal of helping Malawi through 6 key areas: agriculture, education, medicine, food sustainability, community development, and local leadership. Founded in 1999 and led by an all-volunteer board of directors, the Malawi Project is unique among NGOs or non-governmental organizations. The project is committed to promoting independence among Malawians by using local program managers and local oversight in order to help create empowerment opportunities for skill acquisition and self-improvement. This approach will help avoid aid dependency, often associated with emerging world development. Malawi continues to struggle with national food emergencies each time El Niño weather patterns in the Pacific disrupt crop production. Each time this happens, the labor-intensive workforce is unable to increase production enough to offset the losses. As a result, as many as half of the 18 million people in Malawi suffer some degree of malnutrition or starvation. When catastrophic famine strikes, the project shifts from programs that are successful through local efforts to programs that call for world participation in initiatives that address widespread malnutrition, food shortage, and possible death. Whether it's a trailer of food from an American contributor or food purchased locally, all foodstuffs are carefully distributed to people who have been previously identified as being in the greatest need. Due to the Malawi Project's long-standing relationship and the way the Malawi government is receptive to outside aid and support, none of the over 350 shipments that have been distributed have ever been disturbed by customs. The project's Malawi partners carefully plan all food distributions, working closely with tribal authority, churches, government, and community development agencies in order to ensure accountability and responsibility in the way the food is being distributed. 85% of Malawi's population survives through individual subsistence farm plots. This is done without modern mechanization and calls for every member of the family to work 10 to 14 hours every day to produce their food. The government is unable to generate sufficient revenue to balance their meager budget, and therefore national farm programs and subsidies that would improve the lives of village farmers are underfunded or non-existent. To empower these farmers, the Malawi Project provides education, training, and a degree of mechanization to increase crop production and to generate hope through modern, improved methods of agriculture. Thousands of educational booklets dealing with farming techniques and cooperative grain storage have been written and distributed. a major new program is underway to help create farm co-ops where village farmers work together to raise larger plots of grain, then store a portion of it in large community storage bins for use by the orphans, widows, and the needy in their immediate areas. Established with financial help and engineering expertise from the Malawi Project, the Modalitso food plant, next to Blessings Hospital in Lumbadzi, processes enough food to feed between 65,000 and 100,000 people every day. When it was constructed in 2004, it was said to be one of the largest economic development programs in the nation at that time. The Malawi Project also helped create the Talamanji Agricultural Village, a major agricultural training center 60 miles north of the capital city of Lilongwe. Today, it houses and trains 50 farm families a year in modern farm techniques. A large man-made lake is a centerpiece to the program and supplies the water for irrigation that is needed to raise the crops throughout the year. The project has also helped to install over 11,000 drip irrigation systems distributed into all 3 regions of the nation, while American professionals have gone to the country to help train large numbers of local farmers in their use. Agricultural Aid International, an Indiana not-for-profit, has designed simple farm tractors called the V-Tractor, the V is for village, and the VT2 walk-behind for Malawi and other emerging nations. 12 of these units are currently in use in Malawi. Compared to their traditional methods, a simple handheld hoe, these units multiply field cultivation many times over. Adding to the mechanization the tractors provide are 3 of the basic utility vehicles, which give the people the ability to transport supplies, people, and agricultural produce. When you meet the children of Malawi, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Education is the key to the future there, and they're excited to get into their future. Unlike many children in the first world nations, they're keenly aware of the need for education, and they beg for the chance to go to school, often walking long distances to get there. 10 or 15 miles each way is not unusual. Parents, however, face 2 major problems when they are working for an education for their children. The first is the cost of supplies, clothing, and travel. And second, and also of very great importance and significance, children going to school mean fewer hands at work on the family farm and around the house. In a culture where everything is done manually, it takes every hand, even the smallest, to accomplish all of the tasks that a family needs just to survive. The Malawi Project is concerned with education, leadership, and skill development for young people and adults as they lead the way for the nation's future. Through the Malawi Project's Kids Helping Kids program, children across the United States are raising funds and gathering supplies such as books, pencils, pens, paper, and other school supplies to help Malawi's school children. The Shoes for Grades program helps address the need for academic excellence, with hundreds of young people receiving new shoes for improved grades, attendance, and attitude in the classroom. When the shoes are given at the end of the year, it's a high mark in the school year, with school officials, public officials, and even members of the federal government coming to attend the ceremonies. The textbook program has placed well over 40,000 school textbooks and over 100 computers in 1,000 school libraries, as well as supplying books for medical schools and church training libraries. Groups all over America collect and send pencils, pens, notebooks, and other school supplies to Malawi through the project. The Little Girl Dress program not only gives little girls a brand new dress, often it's the first one they've ever received, the program is also designed to help them know they are special and important to people who make the dresses, but who will never meet them face to face. project has also helped sponsor the construction of the Sangabe Library, then shipped over 2,000 books to this lakeside area. It is one of the largest libraries in the country and serves the area along the Malawi lakeshore. Over the past 20 years, the number of pieces of educational literature distributed throughout Malawi has reached into the millions. Malawi's healthcare system was drawn up when the country's population was less than a quarter of today's count. In 1965, the population was slightly over 4 million. By 1995, it had reached nearly 10 million, and by mid-2017, it passed 18 million. The average age in Malawi today is 17.3 years of age. Add to the population growth serious malnutrition, frequently having disease outbreaks, the pandemic of malaria, mix into this the lack of funding, and you have enormous strains and breakdowns in the country's ability to care for its people. Every segment of the population suffers, but it is seen most acutely in the area of medical care. Recent estimates indicate that there are 0.02 doctors and 3.4 nurses for 1,000 people. That's a fraction of the ratio seen in the United States. In many Malawi facilities, X-ray, ultrasound, and other diagnostic equipment is either non-existent or not functional. Laboratories stand empty or have been closed. Ambulances are few, and emergency rooms with adequate staffing are seldom available, even if the patient can actually reach the hospital. Pharmacies have bare shelves, and wards are filled with too many patients for the space. Patients are often found lying on bamboo mats on the floor, sharing a bed, or on broken down beds in outside hallways, exposed to adverse weather conditions, often falling in the coldest months to as low as 45 degrees at night. Beginning in 1999, the Malawi Project brought funds and expertise for the construction of a major medical facility in the central region. Over the next 8 years, a 5-building, 110-bed hospital complex was completed near the international airport north of Lilongwe. The facility was far above the average medical facility, new, clean, staffed with Malawi medical people, and with a pharmacy and storerooms that were always full of supplies. Additionally, the project has shipped supplies, equipment, and medicine to over 600 Malawi government medical facilities in all 3 regions of the country. Major distribution has helped the Kachiri Orthopedic Hospital, Nimikanga Birthing Clinic in Tondwe, Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Blantyre, Zamba Central Hospital, Bawali and Kamuzu Central in Lilongwe. The project has helped establish and supply Clinic at the Gate in Sangabe and Sacred Promise Clinic in Lilongwe. The project is also working with the Zediliri Development Agency to establish a number of self-supporting programs in the area just north of Dedza. Included is a plan for the construction of a birthing center. The impact of these projects, large and small, cannot be underestimated. Not only is the aid being felt on the nationwide level, funding is being sent for a number of individual children who suffer from critical health problems that without this aid would certainly prove fatal.
When they were coming to Zomba, they were very sick. And they came here when their parents died. They were already diagnosed with HIV. Their conditions have greatly improved. I've seen them. I saw them last month when they came to collect their ARVs. So as compared to how they were at that time when they were starting their ARVs, there's a great improvement because of the support they are getting from the donors.
For those of us who have lived all of our lives in the first world, it's really impossible to fully grasp the impact of the critical shortage of medical supplies in a country like Malawi. If you can, try to picture going to a hospital where there are no bandages, no aspirin, no clean beds, no bed sheets, no exam gloves for the staff, no ambulance, no meals, no doctor, and only one nurse to care for a population center that numbers in the thousands of people. It's difficult or impossible to imagine from our standpoint, but this is what healthcare is like for the people of Malawi every minute of every day, year in and year out, their entire lives. Nearly a quarter of a century ago, the Malawi Project's founders began to identify these needs and began collecting and sending supplies. They focused in the government hospitals because, unlike private facilities, they had no outside source assisting them. Over the next 23 years, more than 375 40-foot container shipments totaling over $225 million have made their way to Malawi through the efforts of a dedicated team of volunteers who canvassed the globe to find the needed supplies to go to this poorest nation in the world. GDP compares to the nation's population makes Malawi in 2016 the poorest nation in the world. While they're able to send vast amounts of aid, the project members and its board are all volunteers, all paying their own way in every trip to Malawi and every presentation across the United States and Canada. In sub-Saharan Africa, mobility problems make it impossible to live a normal, independent, productive life. Everywhere you turn, from employment and education to healthcare and agriculture, those suffering from a lack of mobility are presented with insurmountable obstacles. As a result, it is not unusual for these people to remain trapped indoors for years at a time, afraid to come outside and unable to navigate a world unprepared to accommodate them. According to the Malawi Population and Housing Census, nearly 500,000 people have some form of physical disability. As a result, there is a need for nearly 10,000 wheelchairs, though few people there can purchase one on their own. The Malawi Project has distributed approximately 4,000 conventional all-terrain wheelchairs, along with a large number of canes, walkers, and other mobility devices. In 2016, working with Mobility Ministries in DeMont, Indiana, 248 mobility units were shipped to Malawi. Unlike conventional wheelchairs, these hand-pedaled units do not require electricity or any additional person to push them along the road. With a population growth from 4 million in 1964 to 18 million today, the public and private demand for wood and wood products has outstripped the ability to maintain Malawi's forests. According to the Malawi government, approximately 41% of the country's forested areas have disappeared since 1972. In an effort to help stem the loss of forests, the Malawi Project has tailored its shoe contribution program into a Shoes for Trees program. Rather than simply giving shoes away to villagers, the project provides shoes in exchange for planting and caring for tree seedlings. The Malawi government, through the Forestry Division, offers the tree seedlings to the program free of charge. In recent years, over 85,000 pairs of shoes have been sent to Malawi to promote the planting of trees. As a result, an estimated 2 million tree seedlings have been planted. Shoes for Trees is in line with the other programs that help the people of Malawi get on their feet and yet not create a dependency. The next question is, how can I help? Of course, much of this work can only survive if sufficient cash is made available. You can program a monthly or a one-time contribution on the Malawi Project website. You can send a check or contact members of the project team for other ways you can use your funds to support the program. Subscribe to the Malawi Project newsletter so you can keep up to date with the success of its programs. Telling others about this can also help in supporting the program. Start a drive at your school, your Facebook site, or in your church or neighborhood to gather needed school and medical supplies. The project can make a number of suggestions of things needed for the people of Malawi. Many of them cost only a few pennies for family. Ask for copies of this film production or packets of literature that you can give to friends, relatives, medical personnel, school officials, and community groups who can put on programs to support Malawi. You can organize a campaign to collect school textbooks at the end of the school year. And while you're at it, record the process with a video recording and send it to the Malawi Project so it can be used to encourage others to support these programs as well. There are few limits as to what is needed and ample ways that you can help. It's really up to you. Malawi is the warm heart of Africa, and the Malawi Project is you.